Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to teach you how to fix squeaking suspension on a Model 3 Tesla. Mine just started having this issue, and the issue is caused by the ball joints, the upper ball joints specifically. Now, I've seen some fixes, I guess you could call them, where people will try and inject grease into the ball joint boot, or they'll try and re-lubricate the ball joint somehow, but I'm just gonna replace the control arms. So I'm gonna teach you how to do that because I didn't see any videos on how. So first thing you're gonna need to do is obviously make sure the car's in park, whatever, pop off your little cover there. And then I've got a 21 mil wrench, and we're gonna loosen the lug nuts just a little bit. Holy shit, those are tight. Okay, I need a bigger wrench. We're gonna loosen the lug nuts while the wheel is still on the ground, just a little bit. Not taking them all the way off. Now that those are loose, you can use an impact to zap them off once I have the car off the ground. Now, to raise the car off the ground, I'm sure you've seen these little puck kind of things. So this, if you feel around, there's a hole under there, and it just goes right there. And we're gonna take the wheel off. Okay, so now the wheel is off. I'm gonna bring you closer. I'm gonna show you what exactly we're gonna do in here. This right here is the upper control arm. This is your spindle. Here's your suspension, your spring, and your shock absorber. So we've got a bolt back here and one back here on this side, holding the control arm onto the frame. And then we've got this ball joint, which is held in with this a key screw, I guess you could call it. So what we're gonna do is we're going to undo this, we're gonna undo those, and we're just gonna take this out. The socket here is supposed to be a T50, but I don't have one, so I'm just gonna use a T45. And then on the other side, the nut is a 15 mil. So we're just gonna, give this a little loosen. Okay, so now the nut is off. Okay, that bolt is out. There we go. So now this can disconnect. There we go. So I put a jack stand underneath that the spindle is supported, because this will want to fall down when you take this off. Okay, but now that's disconnected. We're going to disconnect these little hoses. I think this is for a wheel sensor. Yeah, must be a wheel speed sensor of some kind, or ABS sensor, I don't know. These bolts here, way at the back, are 13 millimeter, and this is the culprit. This is what's squeaking. You can hear there's no more grease in there. This bolt kind of sits like this. So it sits in that channel and keeps it from coming out, if that makes sense. It's too difficult to get a socket because you have this piece of the frame here, so you have to use a wrench. But you can get it right on there, and you can loosen this up pretty easily. This is in the way, so this whole piece connects the suspension, is bolted into the frame from up above. I've taken off this little plastic cowling that just pops up with these clips that stick in here. Then you're going to want to pop off this cowling here, and then we're going to want to, so the bolts are 10 mil, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So we're going to take those. Okay, and then you want to pop off this little cover for where the frunk opens, and you just lift directly up on it like that, and then there's a little clip that you can disconnect. Okay, and then there are 2 more 10 mil bolts down here. right, with the frunk out of the way, we're going to need to get at this bolt, other bolt back here. So we're gonna have to pop this windshield cowling up out of the way just a little bit to get at that bolt. That will lower the suspension piece, that aluminum piece that's bolted to this will be able to come down and out, and then we can take the bolts out. There's two little clips that we have to pop up. One is right here, like that, and then this one, move that off to the side. You can see this bolt right here with the green on top. That's what we need to take out. This one and this one right here. They're all 13 mil as well. There's one. There's two. So that bolt is a 15 mil, by the way. We have to take out another two bolts. So this one, it goes in there with the green on it, and then this one back here, and they're both 15s as well. And now it's loose. You can see it wiggle around in there, but the suspension is holding it up. So now I think we're going to have to remove this bolt through here, slide the suspension, let it rest down a little bit, and that way we can get it out from under this lip right here, because this aluminum piece is sandwiched up in this lip and it needs to come down and out. So if we loosen this up down here, I think that will free it up. All right, so now with that bolt down here out, you can see that's where it bolts in and it's sitting down there. That actually freed up a lot of play. I have to take off this sway bar link right here. And then with the sway bar link right here, out of here on the shock, I've been able to maneuver it around enough. You can get it out now. So there's one bolt. Now we're gonna maneuver this around and do this side, and then we'll be able to take out the control arm here. And just like that, it is out. Here is the upper control arm. Here's the bad ball joint. Not very much grease in there at all, if any. The bushings look okay. Tons of life left on those still. It's kind of a shame that Tesla didn't make this a serviceable item. A lot of other car manufacturers, you can just replace the ball joint, you know, at auto parts store for 15, 20 bucks, something like that. That's kind of a shame. You have to take apart the whole car just to get out the control arm, but nevertheless, have new ones. Let's put those in. Here's the old one, and here are the new ones. Part numbers on here. You can see front upper control arm assembly, left hand. Front upper control arm assembly, right hand. So open. Okay. And there's a little cover on there. So I believe that they've revised the design of these slightly over the model years. So these may be a little bit different, but they will fit into the car. Let's go put this in. Yeah, you can see they bolt whatever this thing is instead of having it zip tied on. So that's one change I can see right away. We're just going to kind of pull this guy forward, tilt it a little bit. Hopefully you can see this. Just feed this bolt right in there. There's a line here and there's a line on the bolt. We're gonna make sure those line up. So we're gonna tighten this down with the wrench. There we go. I have buttoned everything up in here. You can see new control arms are in, sensors back on, that's back on. That's obviously in there nicely. That's back on there, that's torqued down. So I can put the wheel back on this side and let it down. cover back on, and it just goes any orientation, and you just first thing we're going to do is unclip the sensors from the old control arm is what I meant to say. Okay, that's all but the control arm bolts out. So now access those. Got it twisted here like that. Cool. One. There's two. There you go, just like that. That's how fast you can take the control arm out. Put the new one in. Essentially the same process, just in reverse. With the suspension kind of out of place, we're going to put the control arm in, we're going to put the bolts in, then we're going to put the spindle in, and then we're going to, I guess I'll just tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So first, I'm going to take the control arm bolts, put the control arm into its place, put each bolt in. Okay, the control arm bolts are in. Now I'm going to hold the suspension hat, I guess you could call it. I don't know what it's really called, the subframe, I guess, and hold it up from this hole right here and put in some of these bolts hand tight. And I just want to get these bolts in enough so that the suspension is kind of held up so that I can bolt everything up down below first. Well, sorry my phone died. I guess you don't get to see me reinstall the frunk and put the other wheel on, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Now you know how to fix squeaky suspension for yourself by replacing the control arms on your Tesla Model 3 as well. So I hope you learned something. If you have questions, leave me a comment and I'll do my best to answer it if I can. Maybe I'll see you in another video, or maybe not. We don't know.